Tony Khan of AEW joins us next. Levac and Gaz, Fox Sports Radio, 95.9 to 980.
It's Levac and Gaz on 95.9 Fox Sports Radio.
We are honored to be joined by the head honcho, the big boss over at AEW as they get ready to come to town on November 14th at the MVP Arena. Tony Khan joins us. Tony, last time we talked to you was Radio Row. I asked you if you would ever get in the ring, and it became national news that you said no. I'm sorry.
Well, it was great to see you at Radio Row, and thanks for having me on today. I'm really excited about this Thursday.
All right, so since then, I mean, a lot of people have talked a lot of smack. Have you considered, a quick regimen in the gym and slapping somebody around inside the ropes?
I still don't think that's in the cards, but a lot of the best wrestlers in the world right now happening in AEW, and I think the best wrestling and where the best wrestle is our tagline, and I want to keep it that way and keep myself out of the ring.
We've had two different
Smart man.
Yes, we've had two different members of your roster join us over the past week, Mercedes Moné and Darby Allin. Talk about two different people. We'll start with Mercedes Moné first. Super talented. She's a big fan of herself. She almost scares me at times, Tony. She loves her some money, but what an awesome addition to the roster that Mercedes Moné has been in 2024.
Yes, Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion, has been fantastic. It's great to have the CEO in AEW. She's quickly risen to the top of the ranks. She's the TBS champion, and it's great to have her in AEW. And definitely one of the biggest free agent signings, and definitely also one of the top international stars. She's a great wrestler in AEW, but she's also shown she's willing to go all over the world. She's won championships all over the planet, and absolutely Mercedes Moné is a big fan of herself.
Tony Khan with us right now at Fox Sports Radio 95.9 and 980. Like, as a businessman and everything, it's got to amaze you when another company is either short-sighted or, dare I say, stupid enough to let talent like that leave their building. Like when you woke up that morning, you're like, I just won the lottery. Like, how did that feel?
I was so excited when Mercedes first became a free agent. She actually came over a lot earlier. Before she ever debuted as an AEW wrestler, she visited us. She joined us at Wembley Stadium in London, and it was last year where we set the world record, over 80,000 tickets sold at Wembley Stadium, still the most tickets anyone's ever sold to any wrestling show ever. Mercedes joined us as a visitor. She clearly was planning to come into AEW. She wanted to see it firsthand. She sat in the royal box and took in all the action. And then she got injured. She was competing for New Japan Pro Wrestling. That injury sidelined her for several months. When she finally got 100%, when Mercedes Moné got cleared, I was so excited to have her in AEW. And like I said, she's quickly risen to the top of the ranks here.
Mercedes is fantastic. Darby Allin, fantastic as well. And during our conversation, I think something Levac and I learned is that Darby Allin's an onion. Like, you keep peeling this guy back. He's got more stories. He's got a personality. He's got a background. This guy, and I know he's been a part of the AEW for years now, that it feels like fans and viewers, we learn something new about this guy every week, and we keep turning in. He is one of the most interesting and exciting wrestlers on your roster.
Darby Allin, definitely one of the most exciting and interesting wrestlers. He is a fascinating person. The man has no fear. He wants to do always the most dangerous, the most crazy stunts. He's one of the greatest pro wrestlers when it comes to high-flying acrobatics and taking the biggest risks in pro wrestling. Darby Allin wrestles with reckless abandon. He's a great, great wrestler, and somebody that here in AEW we're so proud to have as one of our own. And when we say AEW is where the best wrestle, people like Darby Allin, I think that's what that catchphrase is all about. He's one of a kind.
So obviously, with the Jags, about the NFL has contract stipulations where, like, certain players, you can't drive a motorcycle, you can't do these risky things. Did you ever think of putting something in Darby's contract, like, hey, don't climb Mount Everest?
That's funny. Well, no, I haven't, because I think that's one of the things that makes Darby so unique and special. He is always at the forefront. He's always at the cutting edge. He wants to try new things. And it's that risk-taking. It's that energy. These things make him so unique, and I think also very appealing to the wrestling fans. And I like to tap into that. He takes big risks, but really it's the risks he takes in the ring as a wrestler that are even more dangerous than when he climbs Mount Everest or does some of the craziest motorcycle stunts you'll ever see. This guy is just an absolute wizard in the ring, and Darby Allin is definitely one of the great wrestlers and also one of the great risk takers in the world right now.
I have an idea for a business plan. We were talking to Darby, and I said, how are you not always hurt? And he talked about recovery. I said, forget TB12. Like, let's get a business of Darby Allin recovery going. I think if you market that, Tony, you might have your next billion-dollar industry.
He is really at the forefront of that. He's a Renaissance man, a thinker, and that active recovery and doing everything you can to preserve your body, that's Darby Allin. He's really very, very intelligent when it comes to recovery, and that's a great point. I'm glad you talked to him about that. In sports across the board, these days we're seeing the top athletes able to preserve their bodies and last longer. It's more common to see an elite athlete compete at the top level a little later into their career today versus several years ago. And recovery is a huge reason for that. And Darby Allin is a great young wrestler, and a lot of people have predicted the way he wrestles, the dangerous style Darby Allin does, that he's not going to be able to do this day in, day out, week in, week out for the rest of his career. Well, I do think he's going to be able to hold up. I do think Darby Allin will continue to have a long and fruitful pro wrestling career despite all the big risks he takes because, like you said, he's at the forefront of recovery.
He is the boss of AEW. Tony Khan joins us here on the Elevation 10,000 phone lines. Elevate your brand today with Elevation 10,000. AEW back inside MVP Arena on November 14th. Tony, I need your help here because November 14th is a big day for me. I was there back in July of 23 at MVP Arena when you guys were there. A show was awesome. Capital Region sports fans, Albany fans loved it. But the 14th is interesting for me because my wife is due. That is the due day for our third son on the 14th. Levac has asked us if we should go to the show. In the history of all elite wrestling, has anybody gone into labor? Have we had an AEW baby yet?
AEW delivery instead of collision. I just put it out there.
What do we think, Tony? Should I bring my wife to AEW on Collision and make some history?
I'm open to it. I think we can really do something different that has not been done in AEW's history. There's been a lot of crazy events, a lot of crazy episodes of AEW television. I would love for that to happen. So I would definitely invite you and your wife this Thursday. Please, this Thursday, November 14th at the MVP Arena, join us for AEW Pro Wrestling. You'll be able to make history, and maybe then we can watch it all back on TNT.
Yes, that's what I asked. Britt Baker's a doctor, but she's a dentist. But
Gaz is a former collegiate football player. His wife is a D1 collegiate volleyball player. You might want to sign this kid right then to a futures contract, Tony.
We could get in front. That would be the youngest we've ever gone out and signed a pro wrestler. Talk about being, innovative and planning ahead.
I know you're an analytics guy. You know the numbers. It all adds up. We'll talk about that later. I got to get permission from her first. I got Tony's permission before her permission, so I'll go back and check on that. We are looking forward to the 14th. Tony, we know you're super busy. Thank you so much for the time, man. It is so great catching up. We said this before you signed on. You are our favorite guest at Radio Row. Yep. The fact we get you back on to promote this show has been awesome for us, so thank you.
Well, I really appreciate that. I loved visiting you guys in person at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. Thanks for having me on today. I'm excited to see you guys. It's less than a week away. AEW coming to Albany this Thursday, November 14th. We're bringing the top wrestlers. We're bringing the best action. You've got to see this show. AEW is where the best wrestle. And if you haven't seen it before, check out the high-flying action on TBS and TNT every week. And come see us this Thursday. It's going to be so special, and I'm excited to bring the best action to Albany.
Thank you for making time, man. Again, like God said, we know you're super busy, and best of luck, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll see you Thursday. I'm excited to see you guys again. Thanks for having me on today.
November 14th, MVP Arena is AEW. I tell you, it's rare that the owner of the company wins me over even more than the product itself. AEW is right there in the ring with WWE. Like the stories WWE are really, really good. Like you can see that my cousin Paul Levesque is doing a good job over there. But Tony Khan is just such a and I think the difference between this time talking to him and we talked to him on Radio Row, I felt like Radio Row was a little almost began as forced and he became cool with us. Like he was just cool from the rip. He was just like, hey, you guys want to talk? Let's go. Let's hang out. I enjoy his conversation.
There's something about when you get in a competitive environment, whether it's professional wrestling, whether it's sales, whether it's sports, where sometimes people feel like they have to always be on the defensive. Some people are learning about the product for the first time. So it's like, oh, do I have to deal with my competition questions? Do I have to deal with this? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, these guys just want to have fun. Tony Khan's life that he lives, I said this in February, I'll say it again now. The life he lives, he gets to do something he's passionate about every single day. He gets to be creative. He gets to work in football. Yes, his dad's made billions, but he's talked about his upbringing that he wasn't raised like that. The money came later in his life. Shout out to our guy, Tony Khan. It's going to be an awesome event. Like I said, I was there in July of 23. If you are a pro wrestling fan, this is the type of show you want to go to because everybody's so into the show. They're so into the action. It's in the ring. It's entertaining. All Elite Wrestling, man. From the day it launched until now, we're so happy to support these guys.
Absolutely. Hey, also happy to support our good friends over at CDTA. Great way to get to and from MVP Arena, CDTA, with over 50 routes connecting you to what matters. CDTA. Different color bus lines let you know where they go. The Flex Ride, which you can get done anytime, any place. Just go to cdta.org, sign that up, and be on your way to where you're headed. And also, don't forget about the CDPHP cycle featuring e-bikes, the Drive Electric Car Sharing Program. CDTA is what connects us, that mobility menu to meet all of our needs. Park and ride, just getting where you're going and knowing you're safely getting there. It's just beautiful. I watch the buses go by now, and I'm always like, I know where that one's going because it's pink. I know where that one's going because it's this. I know where that. And listen.